bring this meeting to order. I don't even have a deal. The agenda. Oh, wait, here's my agenda. Okay, I got that. I do, sorry. Okay, I call this meeting to order. Need approval of the agenda? That's my motion.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the agenda submitted.
Yes, second.
Okay, it's been made, moved and seconded. Agenda's approved. The minutes from January 4th meeting, is there any changes or do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
Okay, I make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from the last meeting. Then we just go in to the presentation, is that? Okay. Who's first? Let's see. Just go down.
Yeah.
Okay. Chamber? Lovington Chamber? Hello.
Hello. Let me pick up this sheet real quick. Okay, I was gonna have a correction, but it looks like James caught it before. Just what we have coming up is our barrel race for the chamber. We're anticipating it on a Easter weekend. We're the only one in this area to have it, period. It's a 3-day, so it'll be pretty busy out there. We're anticipating the 400 to 450 competitors again. I don't have anything really to add on that. We've been pushing it, social media, as well as the magazines that are listed, as well as what I usually do for these is the shirts. This was one of them. And it also says paid for by Lovington Lodgers Tax, so I give it to all of the competitors that come in. They really like them. I see them everywhere. I have a bright yellow one and a blue one as well coming around. So I see them at all the races that I go to, and I hear a lot of compliments on them, so they like them. Next thing, we'll have Party in the Park. It is in the next quarter. However, we do all of our advertising in this quarter. It is what it is. It's just a quality of life event for our community. It falls on a Tuesday this year, so I anticipate a lot more participation out there than what we've had in the past. I'm hoping to meet with the new youth center director within the next couple of weeks and see if she has any new ideas for the park and what she can suggest for some changes and updates for out there. So that's really all I have, if y'all have any questions.
Questions? Okay, thank you. Next, EDC.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Everyone know, Evelyn Holguin, Manny Molina is part of my executive board. We're requesting funding for Cinco de Mayo again this year. This year it will fall on May the 6th. We are running into a couple of issues. We all know the construction going downtown. So we don't have a location yet. We're thinking about maybe moving it one street next, maybe between where the EDC office is and maybe the library. We're considering the fairgrounds as well, the park. We don't know a location yet. It's all based off of how much sponsorships we can get. We don't know. We would really like to go out to the fairgrounds, but they do charge a fee. Street's free. So we don't know at this yet, but we are continuing looking for sponsorships. We've already got our entertainment lined out. We're ready to go. We're just trying to figure out location.
Did you guys say the parking lot of the EDC and then the library? Is that what you said?
Yeah,
All
well,
that parking and behind the
what is it,
library
Avenue
and all
A?
that?
Yeah, it's closing down
Lock that
Avenue
up.
A, and then there in part of Love, and using maybe like the library parking lot and our parking lots to put like our vendors. We're still trying to figure that out. Like I said, we've already got our live entertainment. Our live entertainment is coming from far away, so we will be setting up rooms for 2 nights. We only request funding once a year. We don't host any other events. This is a quality of life event that we do every year, and it's very well attended. We have over 3,500 folks attend this event. It's very, very, very well attended. The way we keep count is by giving away free raffles. Some folks sponsor like a grill, large items, and we have people put their name in a big bucket. We count tickets. We only allow them to put their name in once, so we can kind of get a head count of how many people we've had, and we've had close to 3,500 people within 12 hours, because our event starts at noon and it's over at midnight. Anything else, Steve?
I know that my company or my employer actually helps sponsor the event. We donate some money, and that was the basis for the funding request, is to try and get matching funds. Last year we donated $2,500, and we'll be able to do the same this year to contribute to the event. But it's a very well attended quality of life event. And like Evelyn says, we only request funding from the committee and the commission once a year, so it'd be nice to be able to receive full funding on that request. But it is very well attended, and it's not just targeted at the Hispanic community. It brings in all walks of life. Anytime anybody sees an event, especially downtown, they're going to want to stop by and see what's going on. Brings in a lot of folks from out of town, and businesses even downtown, and that's why we really are going to miss not having it at our normal location, because it does bring in, that much crowd to the businesses located downtown and even within walking distance. But I think once we finalize a location, we'll get the word out there, and that's the only thing that's holding us back. We have contacted the county to see if they would allow us to use the fairgrounds without having to pay a fee. Again, funds are limited, and our typical sponsors are not doing as well as they have in previous years. Typically the event has been self-funded. We don't make any money off of the event, but this year donations have trickled in, whereas in previous years they poured in. So we're just looking for any help that we can receive from you guys, and any help that we receive is greatly appreciated.
How much is to rent the fairgrounds? I mean, what kind of fee?
If I'm not mistaken, what we were looking to do was to rent none of the facilities. It's actually where the fair and rodeo, to put our vendors out there and to use the stage area. So we are not using any buildings, but the normal rental rate is about $450. You have to pay for security per head count, and that's a lot of security. Insurance for the day, it adds up. It adds up, yes.
Wow.
So you can't beat that versus free on the street. So we are talking to the county manager, hoping maybe we can get those fees waived or even lowered to make it work. So we appreciate. Any questions for us?
Any further questions?
No. Okay.
Well,
Thank
you
you
guys.
guys.
Thank you very much. Okay, next is Main Street.
Hi guys. So we're doing again Smoking on the Plaza. This is our 8th annual year having that. It is one of our quality of life events, and it's one of our biggest fundraisers that we host. We're also running into the same issue that the
EDC is running into with location. We're kind of really sad about that because our whole mission surrounds around downtown and not being able to host it there. We're trying to see where we can spread out and how we will be able to. I know Love Street, most of it's gonna be uprooted and basically so that they can replace that line. So we're probably gonna look at the county to see what they can do for us as well, but if they don't cut any of those fees, then that's gonna be something that we take on. And like they said as well, I mean, people aren't donating as much as they used to, and I mean, even though the oil field's picking up, we haven't seen the return just yet, so we would really like for you guys to help us out with that. Mostly what we're asking for is advertisement. We've already booked our first, I know the Live on Love Street's at the very, very bottom, but it's also my event, so if that's okay, just gonna go into that one. We've already booked our concert. We're gonna be bringing Reckless Kelly, or not Reckless Kelly, sorry, we brought them last year. Kyle Park on the Friday of Smoking on the Plaza. And he brings his band and they'll be staying at the hotel. And then we always, last year we partnered with Comfort Inn so that they can give a discount to any of our people that were staying and mentioned Smoking on the Plaza. And in the past, we've done that with Lovington Inn as well. So we, make sure that people stay there. And then we're still looking for our other concert because normally we team up with Maddox, but they cut our funding a lot this year. So we really need all the help we can get. Do y'all have any questions?
So have you guys, had any kind of thoughts on location? I mean,
We're kind
so
of
it's gonna
freaking
be-
out.
The street's gonna be tore up right during all of those events?
That's what, I was actually talking to David yesterday, Chief Rodriguez, about that, and he said that even in front of where Connie's at, that area is gonna be dug up too, because we were originally planning on just like spreading out this way instead of our normal way. But he told me yesterday that area is probably gonna be under construction as well. So I honestly don't think it would be possible unless we moved to the opposite side of the courthouse to host it downtown. So like kind of where One Way Graphics is at in that area. We have a meeting next week to discuss where they're gonna have it.
So are they turning up Love Street a lot? I didn't know they were going north, is that right? They're going north on Love, and then are they coming
Love
south
Street.
on Love too?
Love Street between Washington and Central will have some construction. Utility replacement, they're also looking at the speed hump or speed table that will be there. Don't know when they're gonna start construction on that.
I didn't know that. First I'd heard, I was like.
Yeah,
wow.
I heard about it yesterday at the DOT meeting. David was telling me about that, and I was like, oh,
Wow.
we hadn't anticipated that part. We
I
had
mean,
for the
it's
judicial
probably
building,
needed, I
but,
just didn't know.
yeah.
I had heard it.
and in the long run, it's gonna be better for
Yes,
us, and it'll make it look a lot nicer and
This year's
everything
just
else,
gonna
so,
be a
but,
little hard for all our
Yep.
events we have planned. Is there any further questions? Okay, well, thank you. Next is, okay, foundation is being withdrawn because the film festival's not happening. Lee County Museum, which brings me to ask Mr. Harris, on the film festival app that you turned in, do you need to withdraw yours too, because the film
That
festival?
has been totally canceled?
Yeah, so we probably need to withdraw that one. Number
Yeah,
6.
I guess I'm not in the loop on that, as far as the
Well,
emails.
my understanding was you were included on all the text.
Yeah. Well, okay. I do have a film festival down there, and you can see the other things
there's
that I have,
another one, but-
classic film features,
Right.
we're calling it, something that we did at the Lee County Museum for a number of years. So we have our 4th of July run that we premiered last year. We had 97 people ran in that, and hoping that we'll have double that for this year. We have a wildlife photography show from a photographer who lives down in Austin. We have a 40th class reunion, and I haven't advertised for that before, but I thought we'd do it as a way of spreading the word about the museum and the opportunities there at the town hall for these kinds of things. We've been having class reunions there now for, I guess, 4 years. But anyway, I think that will be something exciting will bring people into the community. Also, I did go to the Cinco de Mayo last year. I thought that was a terrific program. It reminded me of some things the museum did for 8 or 9 years. We had 4 or 5 concerts, one a month, you know, in the summer. And I really miss putting those things on. They were big crowd gathers. We had for a Sleep at the Wheel, we had 4,400 people out there. For the Bellamy Brothers, we had 4,000 people. And Michael Martin Murphy didn't get quite that many, but anyway, once a month. I sure miss those. A real energy downtown, I think, during that time. But we all got to deal with less money these days, huh? So anyway, I'll be glad to answer questions about any of those. Now I have 4, I guess, that's on my list.
Yes, sir. Okay, anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, so we working on that, James, taking that back out too?
Yes, ma'am.
So that will increase everybody a little bit. We're waiting for that and give everybody a chance. Have you had a chance to look at this report? See our funding and everything? Just, okay. Had a chance to look at it.
Just thinking of something there, if I
Yes, sir.
could ask, that money that I'm not asking for or would have been allotted for that film foundation, could it be distributed among the others?
It's being distributed amongst all requests.
Well, I meant for everything, so we could.
The 1,100, he's redoing it, that 1,100.
Oh, yes, that's what he's doing right now?
Yeah, he's gonna
Okay.
redistribute to everybody, yes, sir. So we'll wait just a minute for that. My understanding is they are gonna still try to have that film festival, but it's just gonna have to be later, for the kids and the students in the town, anybody that might be interested in all that, but they're just not having it this way.
The reason I was requesting funds there, by the way, had to do with the fact that the museum is going to be a part of that festival whenever it happens. There'll be events taking place over in the town hall.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do we have all the expenses turned in and were there any outstanding? Just the ones that are showing off, we don't have.
I believe so, because, yes, Lovington.
Oh, here's
Main
pending.
Street.
I'm sorry, this is pending expenses.
Yes.
Okay.
I know that the museum turned in theirs.
Okay.
Main Street dropped theirs off here recently.
Oh, it looks like everyone's doing good. That's one great news to see. Just staying peaceful,
Yeah, we were busy last month. This month is going to be slow
a
down.
little bit slower.
Yeah.
Summer, maybe pick up a little bit.
But 1 week is busy, 1 is slow, so it's kind of up and down.
Well, that's good. I'm glad it's working.
Yeah, we had like the busiest month for the last 1 week.
Yeah. Are you putting another one in?
That's what we
I'm kidding.
On the opposite end of town.
only have to go on that lots of you.
That was a headache from beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah, construction costs, everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, they get,
making everybody happy.
yeah. I mean, more business, I guess not, there's not a lot of activities, nothing going on the weekend, though, I mean, just people staying Monday to Friday, there's no activity.
On the weekend.
Yeah, nothing
Well,
on the.
that's what some of this stuff, I guess, is some weekends coming up.
Yeah, weekend.
You know, if the people will spend the night,
Yeah.
that's where we're hoping they'll get some things. Are you having trouble, Mr. Williams? there anything
Yeah,
you
but I'll
think we need
figure
to
it out.
help you?
No,
Okay,
just something weird.
okay. Well, and that's what I'm saying, if it's 1,100, we should get some more, and their thing was just 25.
Yeah, it was only 2,500.
But so that'll hopefully raise that up.
16, 900 short.
So maybe, so I'll get a couple of six.
No members.
But I think he does he do it on
And then this is the recommended,
Yeah.
which is what we're gonna go with,
Yes.
the recommended funding, not the first, the maximum. We're
We do
gonna go
the-
with the maximum.
We go with the right.
I can't remember if only one came or something, but
Thought we would
no,
keep
you would come back
pushing.
for the next meeting. I think it was by 10 years old. And then the next meeting, I made sure that I called every meeting. But this was a different one, and this is difficult to do. This is takes
You will
time.
have more revenue actually, like, yeah,
It's really good to
I
have
think like 3 months, it should be, I think it should be more than 9,000, I think, for this is the projected, I think, right?
That's, I think that, yeah,
That's projected,
Mhm.
I think like maybe even be 15 just for the comfort, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have a little bit more money
Yeah.
hopefully, and then next
It
quarter,
will be,
we're getting our
I don't know,
account built up a little
with
bit
you
now.
and James
We're
both
down to
working it
yeah,
out at the same
that was
time.
negative,
Yeah.
it comes back and.
Right. So now we'll,
It would be extra money coming.
and then it's even, yes, and it looks like if we go with this figure projected, like we were talking,
Yeah,
that's a little more
Yeah.
we're gonna keep.
But did you,
Find out that,
yeah, keep it at least
were
couple
you
thousand.
adding
Plus, I think you will have more money
the
right here
request?
also.
right, so,
like the amount
So
of
it'll be good shape, yeah.
I think he said he changed that one.
we still get the 3D.
I should have told you about the amounts, I don't know why I didn't. But I know that he called.
Keep working on it.
Well, we got another 3 months. They can.
But now that we've got they can have, people can have some next study, we don't have to go home. That's what I like.
That's nice.
So before I pass this out,
Yes, sir.
let's go over the finances, if you wouldn't mind. So looking at our financial report, lodger's tax is doing good
Looking good.
right now. So we actually came in, our projections, of course, how we've been doing our projections is based on the previous 3 months. And then we go ahead and subtract 20%. So, because if you recall, we had depleted our reserves
Yes,
at one point. So what happened was, we had projected, I believe, last quarter, that as of today, we would have collected about 13,000. However, we actually collected 19. So we were off. So this projected revenues is less 20%. It's based on this past quarter. So that with all the outstanding expenses that we do have, leaves us with the 41,818. So one thing that we've done, if you looked at the original one, after, we basically have, with our reserve 34.8 left that we can utilize for this. With the evaluation, it's obvious that it's reduced what we thought about. Well, let's see what we got. The maximum funding was like 18 out of 34, so we actually had some. So in the blue, just based on scoring. I did have a question about Jim's fun run. That's kind of held in conjunction with the party in the park on July 4th. So I think, I don't know if we would be, double dipping is kind of a bad word as far as advertising
But it is.
for the same event. I think maybe some collaboration, we could get a lot of bang for the buck, because I know you guys hosted the run last year. We've had fun runs in the past too. But with these recommendations, taking into account all the scoring, and also just the collaboration with the party in the park, that would bring up an allocation of $33,790, which is actually a little bit below the funding cap. We'd still have $4,000 in reserve, but the majority of the requests would almost get 100% of their funding.
This looks good. Do we need to put that on, did they get copies?
Well, yeah, I'm having problems with
Oh, that's fine.
Excel, so
Do you
we
want me
can
to-
just,
you want me
you
to
can
call
just
it out?
read them out.
Okay.
'Cause
What he has come up with is, Easter run would be, recommended funding of $2,900, party in the park recommended funding $1,500, Cinco de Mayo recommended funding $2,550, smoking on the plaza recommended funding $10,000. We go down to, if we take off the July 4th run, the class reunion recommended funding is $982.63. The wildlife photography recommended funding $4,666.96. Classic film feature recommended funding is $1191.07. And live Summer Street concert series recommended funding of $10,000, being a total funding for the next quarter of $33,790.66.
Good job reading my handwriting.
Yeah. You ought to see some I have to read sometimes. So,
So you did, take off the funding for the
For
July
grant.
4th run?
yes, sir. It was taken off because we can't fund it twice.
Well, so it's gonna, that would be just in the party in the park? or-
Correct, it would be advertised through that, is what my recommendation is.
Part of their advertising needs to be advertised with their, can y'all go in conjunctions together on that?
Well, I would just, this would be targeted kind of things, that we would do targeted advertising, and I'm just not sure that, if it's in a big ad that has a lot of things in the park, that, I'm not sure we'd get as many as we did.
Well, Jim, I did that last year. I mean, the chamber fully funded all the advertising last year. Like, we didn't even get lodger's tax funding because I threw it back. And so that's how, I mean, we still assisted with that.
No.
I mean, so, we can still do it.
I did some other advertising with that, and I had some help from other sources for it, but whatever.
That's the recommended. Does anybody have any further questions or input or thoughts on it? If not, we will move, who wants to move to?
All right, I make a motion to accept the recommended funding $33,790.66.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we fund the next quarter as recommended at $33,790.60 for our sheet and as stated. Any objections? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we fund this as the motion has been made on recommended funding. Is there any further discussion, any further business, anything else anybody else might have?
I do, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
And this is to let everybody know, of course, we're right in the middle of budget. And of course, we're pretty much going on a flat budget. We're only expecting or budgeting, and hopefully it will come in higher, but we're basically budgeting the $70,000 that we started out with this year in lodger's tax funding. In addition to that, you can see our gross receipts tax, we're down to the same level that we were back in 2006, where we were only at $5.3 million in gross receipts tax, compared to the $8 and $9 million that we've received over the past couple of years. Even though we built up our reserves last year, we were very comfortable. We had a good, started out with I believe it was a 42% reserve. We're ending this year predicting a 37% reserve, but that makes things a little bit more difficult for this new upcoming budget year. Even with our general fund expenditures, we're scaling way back. We're getting we're being very frugal. It's really just one of those things as needed. But in order to maintain operations, we are having to pull from other funds. And one of those funds that we're going to be pulling from is lodger's tax. By state law, if you do the percentages, we charge a 5% lodger's tax throughout the city. And for the events, the advertising, the marketing that we establish in this body, during these meetings, actually only the first half of the first 3% of that tax has to be obligated towards this. And then for anything in excess of 3%, only a quarter of that has to be obligated towards the marketing. So with that being said, that means that we're only required by law to obligate $28,000 a year off that budgeted $70,000 in order to fund our other agencies that we have, and in particular with the Chamber of Commerce. We are funding them, of course, with the $12,000 a year off the lodger's tax. The rest of the funds that they receive is through the general fund. In order to maintain that funding, we have to reallocate some of the general fund expenditures into the lodger's tax fund. So in addition to that, we have our Main Street organization, which we provide funding to exclusively through the general fund. However, in light of the fiscal outlook, we're going to have to shift about $15,000 of that into our lodger's tax fund. So what that means is right now, hopefully it's going to improve. We're being very optimistic that it will, but trying to be very fiscally conservative. It looks like potentially next year, we're only going to have about maybe $32,000 budgeted towards marketing for the entire year. But that's to keep our other entities available. I know we have some large capital expenditures. We fund our museum through our general fund. We're keeping that in the general fund, but we also have some capital expenses that have to do with the museum as well. So I just wanted to let everybody know that even though this wasn't a move that we wanted to do, it's really just a matter of keeping people employed and being able to continue to provide those services. So we'll have to make some adjustments in that funding formula that we have.
And that'll be done.
That will start your next quarter, July 1st.
Quarter.
Yes, ma'am. We're still in our budget process. We do have a work session with our commission on April 30th or 20th. At 5:30, it will be conducted here. Public, of course, is invited to attend. It will be packed because we'll have all of our department heads here, but more than welcome to attend if you want to address the commission about any budget concerns. But we'll have our final budget submitted no later than the last city commission meeting in May. We have to have that up to Santa Fe by May 31st, I believe it is.
So could be less.
Could be less,
Going
but
forward.
our projections are off, which is good. I would rather wind up on the positive side than to overshoot.
So you
So
just
we
give it
actually
kind of
have,
heads up.
give everybody a heads
Could
up that
be.
it's gonna be lean next year, but we're really hoping that, the last time that we saw a slowdown in the economy like this, it took about 19 months to recover. So we're halfway through, a little over halfway through. So we're hoping that next year we'll pick up. There's more activity out there, but
Things seem to be.
we're just being realistic and trying to make sure that we can keep things. Because the last thing we want to do is cut any funding to our, what
Yeah,
we
we
call our auxiliaries, but also we got to keep people employed. I've got 138 employees that we gotta make sure that we can keep fed, so.
Okay, did y'all get that? So, just when we were getting a little bit,
I know.
just finally getting some money.
Well,
But that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes, and we understand. We understand, we appreciate you letting us know, giving us a heads up on it. So, anything else anybody have to tell